A thought that was a little concerning to me initially was that I was in fact going the right direction and that they deconstructed the lean-to. And that would have been really unfortunate. But, while I can't say whether or not they have, I can say that I didn't mean to end up at a road. So, I'm going the wrong direction. So last episode, we had our very first spit take with the military surplus humanitarian aid rations pack. Cut to that now. This looks like exactly the same thing that we just had. Let's see. No, not a chance. That has turned. I do not know how old that is, but I wonder if it says. No thank you. And so for this episode, I'm thinking, let's go back a little bit. A couple episodes back, we came to a really nice lean-to. Had some higher quality rations. This is commercial camping field meals. I think that's what we're gonna do today. I've got a pack of additional military surplus MREs coming in a few days. So we'll do an MRE sandwich, so to speak, but not literally an MRE sandwich. Rather, humanitarian aid pack last week, yuck. Future unknown MREs in the future. Potentially yuck, potentially yum. But today, we'll eat in luxury again. With a nice lean-to, potentially higher quality meal. I'm looking forward to it. It's a nice rainy day out here. Cool and wet. I like that. Let's do a time lapse. It's only been a couple weeks since we've been here, but already in that time, the plant life here in the forest floor has changed so much that I'm not entirely positive I'm following the right trail. If I wasn't filming, I would be certain. But you know, every now and then I'm looking at this phone that I'm using as a camera and it's distracting me. So fingers crossed that we're on the right path, and if not, we'll turn right back around and regain our bearings and find the right path, because I am looking forward to a nice meal in the lean-to, especially with how rainy and wet everything is out here. I know you can't see it on the camera, but I would certainly feel it when I sat down for this meal, so fingers crossed we're heading the right direction. A thought that was a little concerning to me initially was that I was in fact going the right direction and that they deconstructed the lean-to. And that would have been really unfortunate. But Well, I can't say whether or not they have. I can say that I didn't mean to end up at a road. So, I'm going the wrong direction. So back in we go. See if I can't retrace my steps enough to find the lean-to. I'm sure some of you can relate to this. It is a little worrisome when you can't trust your own psyche, you know, on a trail that I've done a dozen times. How in the heck did I get lost? Hunting is allowed in this park. For your safety, please wear blaze orange. Please protect your dog. Spring turkey season, end of April, all of May. Fall big game, black bear, deer, moose, and turkey, September through December. Well then, we're good. Just where the heck are we? Alright, I don't know where I went wrong. For the first time in Rations history, I got lost in the woods. But I see ahead of me our lean-to. Look at that. Home sweet home for today's lunch. Right on. Y'all want to know a Rations trick? I bet you don't. This is the part where I put the camera in here ahead of me. And then flip it around so y'all get this shot. Worth noting that while this is a good place to sit, a good place for camp, it is in absolutely zero way any drier than anywhere else. Which almost makes it a lateral move, right? Because if you see a lean-to, if other people are hiking on here and they see a lean-to and they see some guy in here eating a meal, first thing they think, homeless. Because we're doing a nicer meal this time, I got the same kind of meal as last time. Not the same food, but add boiling water. A little bit ritzier type food. I'm getting in my backpack right now. Well, that's why there's that weird angle, but today we're going with a venison casserole. Ground deer and a creamy sauce with rice and vegetables. That's going to be nice, but because I have to bring already boiled water, it's a perfect time to break out a gift from the station's executive director. Pour over coffee. I'm curious to see how this works. Base camp blend. Get real. I'm a sucker for marketing. You have won. Brought a spoon this time. Of course, Northwest Access television mug. Look at that. Golly. Alright, so how to brew. Remove filter from pouch. Tear open along perforation. Anchor to mug and bend sides of anchor outward for extra stability. Pour 200-degree Fahrenheit water to brim a filter and repeat until 8 ounces of coffee is brewed. I don't know what the temperature of this water is in my thermos, but I'm willing to give it a try. Let's see what we got. Ooh, single packed, that's nice. So these must be the anchors right here. It's kind of cool. It smells good. It smells like coffee. Let's check this out. That mostly works. Look at that. Might be a bit of a learning curve to this. I don't see the point in these anchors. I don't know why you wouldn't just do this like a tea bag. Put the water in first and then drop that guy in. At any rate, let's let that sit for 2 minutes and we'll start working on the meal. Alright, so like I said, we got ground deer in a creamy sauce with rice and vegetables. Open pouch, remove oxygen absorber. Got it. Do not eat. I feel like all of these MREs should say that. Carefully add 8 ounces of boiling water to pouch. Stir well and zip pouch closed. Let stand for 10 minutes. Golly. Alright, we might be starting with dessert today. Check out that cute little carrot. I don't believe you. Alright. Oh shoot, should I have done slow motion for that too? Let's give that a shot, eh? I got a feeling that's already going to be a little bit soupy, so I'm going to just top off my coffee with what I have left. Break out the old trusty spoon. Stir this bad boy up. Oh, that's going to be just absolutely soup. That's fine. It was worth it for the shot. And hey, instead of a casserole, now I got soup. There's nothing wrong with that. Set that down. Close this bad boy up and let it cook. In the meantime, it's not like we can just sit here and do nothing for 10 minutes, and I don't like my coffee hot, so we're not going to start with that, though I will take this out. Look at that. Coffee straight from the source. Here we go. Oh, it is strong that way. So in the interim, we're going to start with dessert. Actually, might water that coffee down a bit. But here's what we're going to start with. Freeze-dried, ready-to-eat space food. Ice cream sandwich. On the back it says, "This is real ice cream. We take the ice cream you know and love, and with the power of freeze-drying, create a yummy new snack. Frozen in time, yet not frozen in temperature. When you remove the water from ice cream, what do you have? A delicious, crunchy yet creamy sweetness that melts in your mouth, sandwiched between 2 chocolate-flavored wafer cookies." Interesting. Apparently, this was invented for NASA's Mercury missions, and that's pretty cool. So let's give it a shot. It's wrapped like an ice cream sandwich would be wrapped. I was really worried. I got this a few weeks ago. I was worried it would break in transit, but if it can make it to space, I guess it can make it to the woods. This is cool. If you were to just look at this, dude, ice cream sandwich, right? But that's interesting. Let's see if I can focus in there. Look at that. Wild, huh? But is that any good? That is the question. Smells like an ice cream sandwich. Looks like an ice cream sandwich. Does not feel like an ice cream sandwich. You know something you would never do in your entire life with an ice cream sandwich? Rub it all over your face. Nothing, dude. It's freeze-dried. It's A-okay. Alright, let's give it a shot. Wow, it does taste like an ice cream sandwich. Certainly in no way feels like one when you're eating it. Feels like eating styrofoam or packing peanuts. Interesting. I wonder. So, the crust is really, really hard. But if I were to take that off and just get on the inside of it. Hello.
Hi there.
A new friend. Hello. That's funny. This is a day I don't usually do this. But the only 2 times that I've ever done this, those dogs have walked by. At least at this location. Alright, so what I was thinking was, if I break this off, like that, and just access what was the ice cream, what would that be like? This was ice cream? Like, that's crazy. It definitely tastes like ice cream. Huh, that was fun. What would I give that? If I was in space, 10 out of 10. Here on Earth, the actual experience, 6 out of 10. Like the food. The novelty gets a full point, so 7. And the accessibility gets at least half a point, right? So 7.5 out of 10. Freeze-dried ice cream sandwiches. You know what might be interesting? If I rehydrated it. If I dip this in the coffee, what happens to it? Oh. That's what happens to it. It gets gross. Never mind. No, thank you. The coffee's good, though. That is exactly the right amount of strength, too, for what I want right now. I've been feeling like I haven't been going hard enough at the gym lately. So after this, I've got all my pre-workouts packed together. 2 pump workouts, 1 stim workout, pre-workout. So I don't need a lot of caffeine right now because I'm about to get it. I'm about to really make today count. But if you were just waking up in the woods, that's really good. Alright, so getting lost did put me a little bit behind schedule. So this may not be fully cooked. But we're going to have to go for it because I do have to get back to the station. Right out the gate, it is all sorts of soupy. I put in too much water. You know the saying, measure twice, cut once? Measure 0 times, get soup. Ooh, but it smells good. What I like about these kind of more ritzy meals that are meant for people camping, I like that these feel like home. I know you've heard me say it before that that is like a measure of whether or not this works. And by design, these are supposed to. These nicer ones. I'm a big fan of that. Alright. Venison casserole, now venison soup. Let's see how that goes. Now that's something your grandmother would have made. Wow. Wild that this, first off, wild how different this and the ration humanitarian aid pack was. But wild how this can just be like a powdery, almost not food. 1 second. And then become what feels like more food, more real food than what I usually even eat for dinner. Like we got rice, carrots, green beans, venison. This is good even as a meal. Not just a field meal. This is good just on its own. Can you imagine camping with your kids? They don't know, right? They don't know you got this. You cook this up while they're sleeping. And then you put it in a skillet to make it look like you actually... Maybe you can finish off in a skillet, but make it look like you actually did something. Serve it to your sleepy kids as they watch the sun come up. Woo. Maybe that's just me, but I think breakfast should be a lunch meal. Shouldn't be carbs and sugar. That's ridiculous. Yeah, this is great. This is so good that I want to feed it to the dogs if they come back. That's the end of the spectrum, right? It's either so bad you feed it to the dogs, or it's so good yet you're like, guys, you would love this. Come on in, pups, enjoy this with me. Nine out of 10. What would make it a 10 out of 10, you ask? I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. Maybe if I didn't make it a soup. I feel wrong giving it a 10 for some reason. I don't know why, but it is absolutely deserving of a 9. Wash it down with some Base Camp coffee. That's not a brand, that's just how they, and that's the name of their blend. Not name dropping any brands. Oh man. All around, it's a good meal. And again, great accommodations for the meal. So one thing I've started to do, I guess I've done it really since the beginning, is kind of each episode share my thought on something, you know, maybe existential or philosophical. And it helps me fill out the time to get this to a flat 30, but hopefully it also helps you if you watch the show and you listen. So to round out the episode, I'm going to give you my view, literally, in my eyes, from where I'm sitting. I'm going to have some coffee and tell you a realization that I had I think could be beneficial to everybody. I was going to just show you outside the lean-to, but I like the shot so much that I got on accident by putting the phone down on my backpack. And I think this is where we're gonna live for now. So when the wind dies down, I'll give you my thought. You're shaped by a lifetime of interests, a lifetime of circumstance, a lifetime of environment, but your life is not static, right? There is a dynamic range of things that happen to you, things that you enjoy or don't enjoy, people you meet, places that you go. But through all of that, you're collecting information, and your subconscious is partitioning that out as it sees fit. You are not the person that you used to be. You are not the person that you will be. But you're always going to be carrying bits of those people with you. So here's my thought. What if you could separate the different archetypes of your subconscious based off of who's speaking the loudest in your internal monologue? You can start with who you've been the longest. Look back to a point in time where you don't consider you anymore. How far back do you have to go? Go that far back and consider that a check mark. Within that space of time, there's a version of you, and that version of you has collected information, collected experiences and data, and that experience and data is informing your decisions, your responses, your reactions. But there's a bunch of chunks in your life that are like that. For me, I was able to break my subconscious down into a few different archetypes. Who I used to be, who I want to be, who I am currently, and the child that I was are 4 easy ones that you can do. And so if you find yourself thinking a thought that you don't like, or reacting in a way you don't like, which version of you is talking? If you're getting defensive, is it your child, your inner child? Do you have to protect yourself for some reason? If you're always striving to be better, then obviously the better thoughts are going to be the future version of you speaking. I would suggest that you lean into that person. But I went as far as to build a full archetype playbook for myself of all the versions of me that I believe are holding court in my subconscious. And I listed all the traits of those different eras, those different, not different personalities, but you know, you're different depending on where you are, right? You're different at work than you are at home. So if you got the time and you want to understand yourself better, break it down. What are the triggers of each part of your life? What are the rewards? What's the ethos? What's your goals? What are the nuances? For example, when I'm in the gym, I want to work out. But I tell you what, outside of that, I absolutely don't. So is the athlete its own archetype? Well, sure, maybe it is. What is the archetype of that person? Well, he gets angry pretty easily. But the person I want to be doesn't get angry very easily. So if I see myself coming to anger, then the archetype that is at play is that of not who I want to be, but a version of who I am. Take some time, work on that with yourself if you're interested, and see where you land.